Well, hello, friends. I have a question for you today. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? You might think, hey, wait a minute, I'm not afraid of anything. Well, hi, I'm Brian Ashpole, pastor at Honolulu Assembly of God here in beautiful Honolulu near world-famous Diamond Head. It's Wednesday night, August 19th, and I'm excited, friends. I'm excited because we're looking at incredible scripture passages all this month of August that have the potential to be life-changing. That's right, friends. That's right. If you apply these powerful truths, these powerful scripture passages to your life, they can change your life. And today we're going to the Old Testament. We're looking at 2 Samuel chapter 17. Well, let's think about that question. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Our world right now is full of things that cause fear. Coronavirus, lawlessness, political turmoil, racial tension, division, dissension, financial instability, and uncertainty. And, well, hey, the future is really unknown. So there are a lot of reasons to be afraid, friends. But today we're going to look at a young man who had every reason to have fear, but he had a greater reason to have faith. He had a greater reason to have faith, and his name is David. We know him as the great king of Israel, maybe their greatest leader in history. He was also well known as a sweet singer of psalms. He had this incredible heart to worship the Lord. He penned many of the psalms in the Bible that we still read today. But today we're looking at him before all that. We're looking at him as a young shepherd boy. And it's a well-known account. David takes on a huge opponent. It seems like an impossible situation. It is, of course, the story of David and Goliath. Well, according to 1 Samuel 17, verse 4, Goliath is over 9 feet tall. I mean, that is huge. Now, how could he be so tall? Well, he was part of a race, or at least a family of people at the time that have since died that were exceptionally tall. How big was he? Well, Goliath would make the Shaq look small. Shaquille O'Neal is one of the biggest guys to ever play in the NBA. According to Wikipedia, at 7 foot, 1 inch tall, 325 pounds, Shaquille O'Neal was one of the tallest and heaviest players ever, and he was a great player. But he could not measure up to Goliath. Goliath would have been over 2 feet taller than him, and young David was a lot shorter than Shaquille O'Neal. In fact, he was a teenage boy. He was probably not known for his height. Goliath must have appeared to him to be a monster. And not just to David. Everyone was afraid of Goliath, friends. You know, the Philistines and the Israelites, 2 nations, were lined up for battle as usual. And then this monster comes out from the Philistine side and makes a bold challenge. Let's read it. 1 Samuel 17, verse 8 through 10. Goliath stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, "Why do you come out and line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine, and are you not the servants of Saul? Choose a man and have him come down to me." Verse 9, "If he's able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our subjects and serve us." Then the Philistines said, "This day I defy the ranks of Israel. Give me a man and let us fight against each other." Well, what's the result? What's the response of the Israelite army? Verse 11, on hearing the Philistines' words, Saul, that's King Saul, and all the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. They were all terrified. The army was petrified. So Goliath makes his challenge, this taunt, an insult regularly, probably maybe even every day. And the result was every day, friends, the Israelite army, they would shiver in their boots. They would hope he would go away. They would have loved him to see him come down with coronavirus or something, some other sickness, and have to go to the hospital. But it didn't happen. Every day he comes out and makes that challenge. Well, one day, David happened to be there when Goliath made his daily morning challenge, and David is shocked. He's shocked. How could this be? As I mentioned earlier, David is a young shepherd boy. He's too young to join the army, so he has to stay home and watch over the sheep. He has to help take care of the family farm. But David's father sends him one day with provisions for his brothers and to bring back news about the war. Listen to what happens, verse 22 through 24. David left his things with the keeper of supplies He's there at the battle line, ran to the battle lines and greeted his brothers. Verse 23, as he was talking with them, Goliath, the Philistine champion from Gath, stepped out from his lines and shouted his usual defiance. And David heard it. When the Israelites saw the man, meaning Goliath, they all ran from him in great fear. Now, David is very surprised nothing is being done to settle this situation, to deal with Goliath. And so David indicates his desire to help. Finally, a rescuer. Is this good news received with joy? You would think so, but no, that is not the case, friends. Listen to how David's older brother belittles him. Verse 28. When Eliab, David's oldest brother, heard him speaking with the men, he burned with anger at him and asked, why have you come down here? And with whom did you leave those few sheep in the desert? I know how conceited you are and how wicked your heart is. You came down only to watch the battle. Wow, what's going on here? Eliab is filled with fear when it comes to Goliath, but he's also filled with shame about David's offer. It should be Eliab making that offer, but no, he's not going to do it. Verse 31 says, David was willing to step out, and what David said was overheard and reported to Saul, that's King Saul, and Saul sent for him. Now, friends, you know it has to be a pretty desperate situation when the king of Israel, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, instead of sending his best warrior out to meet Goliath, or going himself, which he probably should have done, instead sends for the young shepherd boy to help him out. Everyone else is terrified. They are petrified. They're paralyzed with fear. So David goes to see the king, and at first the king is hesitant, as he should be. I mean, he's thinking of sending out a young boy instead of going himself. Saul is a warrior. He's not, an office guy. He's a warrior. But David is confident. David said, hey, God help me when I was watching my flock of sheep. A lion came and threatened them, and I killed that lion. A bear came and threatened them. I killed that bear. Can you imagine, friends? A lion and a bear. So David says, hey, God help me with the lion and the bear. David's confidence is strong. His resolve is strong. What does he say? Verse 35 and 36. He says this, I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by hair, struck it, and killed it, referring to the lion and the bear. Verse 36, your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. This uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them because he has defied the armies of the living God. Verse 37, the Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine. Now, King Saul gives David his permission, gives him his blessing, and he wants to send David out prepared. So he gives David his own armor to use. And David tries it on, but there's a problem. Verse 38, 39. It says, Saul dressed David in his own tunic. He put a coat of armor on him and a bronze helmet on his head. David fastened on his sword over the tunic and tried walking around because he was not used to them. I cannot go in these, he said to Saul, because I am not used to them. So he took them off. Now, friends, it seems suicidal for David to go out against Goliath without armor, without any other military preparation. I mean, he's a shepherd boy. It seems like suicide. But, friends, David recognizes a key truth. This is very important. This is not a physical battle. It's a spiritual battle, friends. It is a spiritual battle, not a physical battle. If David goes out against Goliath in battle armor, if he goes out to face him warrior against warrior, mano a mano, man to man, David will not stand a chance. He will be crushed. I mean, he's going to be crushed. But he's counting on God to make a difference in this impossible situation. It is an impossible situation. But David is trusting God to make the difference. So David heads out to the battlefield, just him, his shepherd's bag, his sling, and 5 stones. Why 5 stones? Who knows? Turns out he only needs 1. When Goliath sees David, what is Goliath's response? Finally, a warrior to meet me. Finally, someone to respond to my challenge. Oh no. Goliath is insulted, friends. Verse 41 through 44. Meanwhile, the Philistine with his shepherd bear in front of him kept coming closer to David. He looked David over and saw that he was only a boy, ruddy and handsome, and he despised him. He said to David, am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. Come here, he said, and I'll give your flesh to the birds of the air and the beasts of the field. He's insulted, but he is still defiant. Now, does David quake in fear? Does he shake in his boots? No, friends, he does not. He goes forward in confidence. He goes forward in faith. As we say here in Hawaii, he moved for Jesus, straight ahead for Jesus. Verse 45, 46. David said to the Philistine, you come against me. This is important. You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will hand you over to me. Wow. Is it misplaced confidence? No, friends. God honors his faith. Hear what happens in verse 48 through 50. As the Philistine moved closer to attack him, David ran quickly toward the battle line to meet him. Reaching into his bag, taking out a stone, he slung it and struck the Philistine on the forehead. The stone sank into his forehead. He fell face down on the ground. So David, verse 50, triumphed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone. Without a sword in his hand, he struck down the Philistine and killed him. Well, friends, David not only defeats Goliath, but ultimately the entire Philistine army. Listen to what it says in verse 51, 52. When the Philistines saw that their hero was dead, they turned and ran. Then the men of Israel and Judah surged forward with a loud shout and pursued the Philistines to the entrance of the Gath and to the gates of Ekron. I mean, they chased them out. It was a great victory. David, as a result, enters King Saul's army, becomes a mighty warrior, and hereafter is known as the one who defeated the mighty Goliath. Now, how did all this happen, friends? How did it happen? David saw God's faithfulness in helping him defeat the lion and the bear. That gave him faith to move to a bigger challenge, which was Goliath, and later becomes a mighty warrior. God helps him into every victory, and then he has to run for his life from a jealous King Saul. Does he need faith for that? Oh, yes, he does. He has to hide in the wilderness. And then after that, he rules and reigns as Israel's greatest king. And he certainly needs God's help for that. Here's the key, friends. He grew in faith all along the way. Each challenge helped him grow in faith to be able to meet the next greater challenge. See, God helped him all along the way to where he needed the most. And meeting Goliath was certainly a great challenge, but it wasn't the only one. He met many along the way, but he grew from each one of them. So what challenges are you facing today? Let's apply this, friends. That question I asked at the beginning, what are you afraid of? For a lot of people, the fear is COVID-19, coronavirus. They might be healthy, but they aren't going anywhere until the government says it's okay. For others, it's fear brought on by financial instability caused by the coronavirus shutdown. Your job is suspended, your work hours are reduced, your future with the company might be uncertain, or you know your company or your job is not going to last much longer. Your source of income, your source of earthly provision is in doubt. But friends, I urge you to do what David did. Face your impossible situation with God's help. Did you hear that? Face your impossible situation with God's help. Face it with faith instead of fear. Face it with faith instead of fear. Could something bad happen as a result of this time in your life? Yeah, something can happen any time in your life. That could be bad. But don't live your life based on what might happen. Trust in the Lord who can take care of you, who will take care of you. And friends, I can testify. I've seen the Lord intervene over and over and over again in situations I thought were impossible. I thought, oh man, this situation, nothing good's going to happen. And God intervened. The Lord intervened in each one of those situations. The truth of the matter is we can't see everything that's going on right now. God is doing things. He's working behind the scenes, doing things we can't see. We need to trust him, friends. Just trust him. Remember this. Bring God into your worst fears. Let him have control. Let your faith grow and grow. Has God helped you in the past? I'd say probably he has. So just as for David, God can help you today also, friends. Now, isn't that beautiful? That is powerful. That can be life-changing for you, friends. That can change your life. You know, that's the best way of handling life's hard things. It's the best way of handling the disappointments life brings to you. Trust in God to turn that impossible situation into the victory, as God helped David defeat Goliath and bring about a victory for his nation, for not only for himself, but also for his people. Now help me out, friends. When have you forgotten this truth? When have you let fear paralyze you and to the point where you can barely move? And when did you realize you needed to step out in faith? And what or who, probably who helped you remember that? Would you please leave a comment? I really want to hear from you. And please let me know how you're doing wherever you are, wherever you're watching. Please leave me a message, whether it's on our website, honoluluag.org, or our Facebook page, search Honolulu AG. That's probably where most of you are seeing this. Or our YouTube channel, search Honolulu Assembly of God. And please, friends, please share our website, our Facebook, and our YouTube resources with others so they can be encouraged also. If you have been blessed today, if you've been inspired and encouraged, please share it with someone else. Well, I'm excited. Let me just drop this in before we pray. The Sunday service, August 23rd, will be streamed live on Facebook. It's going to be the third entire service that we've had posted, streamed live. And if you can't join us in person, please do so online. I invite you to be with us in person if you can. But if you're not able to join us, or if you're too far away, then please do so online. And later on in the day, if you're not on Facebook, it'll be posted to our website and also our YouTube channel. We're going to go to the Lord in prayer at this time. Are you ready, friends? Let's do it. Let's pray. Father, I thank you that you're in charge and that I can trust you. And Lord, you can bring victory in what seems like impossible situations if I will step up and trust you. But Lord, give me that faith. Give me that faith. And each person watching this, men, women, young people, boys and girls, help us to step up in faith, God. We return our lives to you. We surrender to you. We want to have the victory in you. We don't want to live in fear. We want to have great victory in you, and pray in Jesus' name. Amen and amen. And friends, God bless you. Jesus loves you. Aloha and aloha keakua. Well, hey, there's more life-changing truth coming up right here, right where you're watching. So I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, God bless. Aloha. Bye-bye.